Alright, there we go. Now it should sound fine. Sorry about that. I was... I actually use Reaper as like a normal DAW too, so like sometimes I forget to switch back. Because you have to do it, it's so weird. It's weird to use a DAW as like a audio device, kind of like manipulator. It's like a VST host, because it's you need to switch it back after, but it's fine. But welcome. Today, it's going to be a fun day, I think. And I'm not really sure if it's going to work, but let's see if it does. I tried it a tiny bit, and it seemed to work. We're going to be doing something that's going to involve a virtual machine. I'm really skirting the line here in terms of like what could possibly happen, right? This could end up being like a horse and horse cock thing. I'm not really sure. The fear is that I have no clue what's going to happen, because I've never seen anything about this. I was just going through my phone and finally clearing out all of my 100 tabs, and I realized that I had this stuff saved there that I just forgot to like talk about, really do. So we're gonna be trying something very interesting today in the VM. No, it's not a virus or anything, I don't think, but it's gonna be weird, and I've heard that it's kind of a weird multiplayer experience too, so not quite sure what that means, but apparently everybody can like modify it as well, which is strange. I'm not sure why. Or at least they can use it to modify things. I'm not really sure, but it's weird. I've been seeing a lot of weird posts around it, and I'm not really sure what it is on a technical level yet. Beyond that, though, we're also going to try the Kenshi thing again. I think we can get up and running within 10 minutes, and then I think we can actually like go through it properly this time. This is like a new timeline, okay? So everyone's back alive. No one died. No one died. You know, we're just gonna pretend like no one died and everyone's still alive, okay? So we're just gonna put everyone's names back on the list as it was last time, which I think I saved somewhere. And then you all get a second chance at life, which should be nice for pretty much all of you, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see if y'all like to live in this hellhole. Then we're gonna move on to Until Then, because again, I really want to finish that game. That game has been on my mind since like forever. It's that game is so good. And it's crazy how good that game is, because like I think people in YouTube, again, this is why YouTube viewers are kind of like the race class citizens of the stream. They understand what makes the game so interesting, and they immediately understand like why it's so like fun to play too. And they feel the fun within the game as well, in the sense of like they know what's like going on. Oh, oops. Yeah, I'm also trying out this new extension actually. Trying out this new extension to see if it would help, because I know that as much as I meme about people not being able to read, the truth is like some people like literally need to read to hear anything. Like some people just can't hear, and some people need to read, right? So it's like there's like opposites of like every single thing. The truth of the matter is that the reality of it is that everybody's, you know, born a little differently, and people have some things about them. So you have to, you know, I think it's worth it to take some time to make sure that everyone's accommodated for. This extension should work. Should work, I think. As far as I know, at least. The problem is I don't know why this thing won't start. So I'm gonna turn this off, and then I think it's all my extensions. The ads are going to kick in now as well. So again, stick by, because the ads are going to kick in order for us to actually have a ad-free experience later on. Okay. I don't know why this thing doesn't work. That's weird. Anyways, I'll figure out how to make this thing work. It should be... Oh, now you want to go. Okay, well, that's weird. English. Caption delay. Additional profanity censoring. Yeah, sure. In-chat reminder? Yeah, sure. I was hoping it'd be more of a whisper, but it's not. Oh my god. There are different save sections. Why does everybody do a different save section? Why does every single piece of software do a different save section? It's weird. Okay, well, just reload. Man, that's weird. It's weird, the thing just doesn't work. I wonder if it's because it's been so old that they just stopped working on it. Let's see. But there's a fair number of different extensions to this. Basically, I wanted to see if I can get closed captioning on the stream without it being a part of the stream video itself. Because if you bake it in, then you can't do anything, because it's kind of annoying, right? One of the more interesting things about this method of using extensions on Twitch is that apparently there's like different ways the extensions can present themselves. You've got your overlay thingamabob. You've got your thing that involves like a you've got like a components on the side. You have like panels and stuff that you can open up and like stuff. There's a whole bunch of like interesting, fascinating things here that I'm kind of interested in seeing if they work. The problem is I don't know if it's actually gonna work. Translation credit. 500 credits are required to activate. How translations work? Okay, can you not? Do I have to sign in to do this? Like, it's so frustrating. But yeah, there's actually only a handful of extensions that work that like do this. So we'll see if it works as we go, and if it doesn't work, then we'll switch off of it. I'm not really sure. Nor do I really care necessarily. The subs, who are the only ones here at the moment, there's gonna be more sub content coming soon. As I mentioned before, go into the Discord. Let me know your thoughts on certain questions that I'm asking you within the sub only channel. If you don't have access to the sub only channel, you need to link your Twitch account to your Discord account. As far as I know, it doesn't reveal anything to anyone else because I can't see. Like, if I go to, say, this person's account, I can't see their information. And I can't all of a sudden look and, like, find their stuff. Like, I can't see their... Oh, well, I mean, it tells you your Twitch account. So, I guess... sorry. If you don't want people to know that you stream on Twitch, then, yeah, maybe don't do it. But if you don't care, if you don't mind, you can turn it on and you can join the channel. Let me know your thoughts on it. Just know that it's going to be interesting content. I'll think of what to do beyond that, but we'll just see as it goes. I'm not really sure. Again, as you kind of know, I don't really care about the subs in general. The subs are just there as like a thing you can put into, but again, you don't need to because I'm very honest about the fact that I make six figures, so you don't need to put money into the stream. This is just a for fun like hobby for me. That's fine. But yeah, that's basically all the updates from last night. I also posted a bunch of movies that you all might like in the Discord. Again, I think you're missing out on a lot of the content if you don't join the Discord. As well, there's going to be a new community co-op thing very, very soon. I'm trying to get some of you for Warcraft 3 as well, so I need people to tell me if they're down for Warcraft 3. And I need to figure out, as well, how many of you are down for the VR chat thing. But at least the Warcraft 3 thing, because there's one map that I really, really want to try with everyone, because it's going to be a test of, like, can everyone actually play this, like, game. It's going to be very interesting to see. I doubt most of us can play this game, but this map is very interesting, but you can't play it solo. Like, you need at least 8 people, so... And I think it goes up to, like, 24, which is, like, nuts. So we're going to see if it works. Beyond that, though, I had a couple interesting things to talk about with you all today, actually. But, I have the links on my phone, because I still haven't transferred everything over. Did you know that there's a surgery? Here, this is a weird topic, but I want you to know this. Odontokeratoprosthesis. So, if you don't know, I didn't know this. I had no clue about this. Your ribs grow back. For some reason, your ribs grow back. They're one of the few bones that grows back, like, basically in the same way that they were before. Which is silly, because your ribs... Like, how often do you lose a rib? I think you very rarely lose a rib for it to matter whether or not it's gone. However, it also makes sense, because the rib cage technically protects your heart. But... if you've ever been punched in the chest, you know that your ribcage doesn't really do a good job. It just does enough to prevent some damage. But for the most part, even if you get, like, slightly shoved in your chest, if you get a weak heart, it's gonna go down, right? But this is a very interesting surgery. So, because your ribs grow back, there's been a lot of exploration about using them in various different surgeries. And ribs are a very common part of bone replacement surgeries, right? So... you have a hole in your head because you suffered from, what's that thing called? Hydrocephalus, and they need to, like, drain your, like, head. Well, you get this. Well, obviously, I mean, adult hydrocephalus is a whole different matter, but you know what I mean? Like, if you need to get a hole in your head for whatever reason, medically, and it's not there because of an accident, I mean, even if it's there because of an accident, right? They're gonna use your ribs to, like plaster it, basically. It's pretty cool. This surgery that I was reading about is actually using your tooth in your eyeball. So I was reading. So the reason why I bring up the rib is because I was wondering, wait a minute, why does the body regrow the rib but you don't regrow teeth? Because I feel like teeth are much more important for the rest of what you do. The funny part about teeth is that it's not really close to a bone. Apparently, it's really close to, like, a skin almost. It's like a really hard piece of skin, which makes sense when you think about the material. It's like hair. It's like keratin, right? It's just like it's a very, very non-renewable source of, like, you know, like shitty hard skin, basically. But for some reason, instead of using ribs, you can use eyes to cure your. You can use tooth to cure your eyes. So they take a slice of your tooth, and then you fit it into a lens, and you can use that, and you put it into someone's like eyeball after like a couple months. And the way that they do it is first, it has to grow in your cheek. So they take this like piece called a lamina. Well, I mean, a lamina is just a layer, right? They just take like a long layer. They just grow it in your cheek for a couple months until it gets all like soft, like mushy. Then they just stick it into your eyeball as a lens, which is crazy to me because if you think about what that means, right? You ever look at your teeth and you wonder like, okay, even if you know that it's like a hard skin, you look at your teeth and you go like, this thing is very opaque. Nothing really goes through it. How does this work? And it was invented by a doctor in the 1960s. And I was like, holy shit. And the dude, 6 years later, I mean, if he started right at 1960, but it could have been later. Like at most 6 years later, he started a club for intraocular implants, which is nuts to me. Apparently, this actually like works very well, and people still do it. So they take a slice of your tooth, and they do it. I'm actually curious to see actually if there's any. Well, I was gonna check out any videos of this or like pictures. Oh my god, you don't want to see this. Yeah, okay, maybe you don't want to see this, but yeah, it's actually kind of insane if you think about it. It's a really cool procedure because like you wouldn't think that it'd be possible to bring back your eyesight in this manner, but it's fascinating the way that it's done. But yeah, seeing people without eyes is kind of freaky to me. But also, I didn't realize the teeth could grow like that. Like, if you've ever eaten fish eyes, then you kind of know that they're not really the same as like any other body part, if that makes sense. They have a hard center for the lens, and they have like weird shit in it, and it also doesn't taste as good as people would like you to believe. It's not as good as people would like you to believe. I also want to show you all a very weird idle game that I found. Now, you know me in the stream. I really enjoy idle games. I didn't realize that this even existed. This is apparently one of the original idle games where this is more built around true non-interaction. Cookie Clicker was apparently the one where it was like, okay, you have to interact on some level to be able to like play the game, right? You can't just leave it alone the entire time. You have to play the game at some point. This one is you just play the game and you just leave it. And there's actually no progress because it's like, it doesn't really matter. So let's just roll someone. We'll make a talking pony. I can't believe there's like a fake browser. Bastard lunatic? What? Wow, that's a really good fake. I'll be a Vermineer, I guess. Multiplayer? What the hell is multiplayer? Sold. This is the entire game. Hey, welcome. I've had this game on for like a long time on my like actual personal browser. This is a surprisingly fun thing to just have on the side to see you get stronger. The thing is though, is that this is like a true idle game. There is no interaction. You can't do anything. Your character just progresses, dies, comes back, and like does stuff. And this is old. This is like a 30-year-old game, like a 40-year game. It's a very ridiculously old game, quote unquote. And it's more of just like a dice rolling RNG simulator where you get to see numbers go up. It's the equivalent to like, you know how in like movies where they have hackers and they have the like matrix code going up on the screen. It's similar to like that, but for games. I just wanted to show you it all because I think some of you would enjoy to have this on the side of your screen. Also, because I'm pretty sure you can just change the name of your character by changing the URL. But if you don't want to change the name of your character, you can play as a Shanoog. Yeah, this is like awful. And it's funny to like play these idle games because I've played a few of these actually recently. But like all of them have some different flavor. I still think the best one was that idle dungeon one where most of you died. You may notice a certain trend on this channel is that most chatters die within these games, and I'm sorry for that, but it's funny to me. You'll be searching for books on archive.org. You'll be searching for books on archive. Wait, don't. I mean, okay, well, I'm gonna give the legal eagle spiel of like, it's not always legal on there, and you're gonna have to do your best judgment. But there's a lot of books on there. Yeah, archive.org is like a lot of books. Actually, this is also something that I learned about archive.org too. They recently, not recently, but they're in cahoots. they're in cahoots with the American government to, I guess, like archive things, but they're not a part of like an official government arm. They're just a private corporation that has the blessing of, I think, the Library of Congress. So they do have a lot of leeway in terms of like how they go through things. However, it is also kind of like a copyright landmine. Yeah, how so? It's mainly because like archive.org is a place where anybody can upload anything. And because of that, what ends up happening is that people will upload things in the sake of for the sake of archival. But because the way that the site works, you can just download things. So somebody may upload, say, like a game that's only 20 years old, right? Copyright has not been finished for it. A copyright in America, 20 years ago needs to last for at least 100 years, right? And even if it wasn't everybody uploading anything, just in general, anything that isn't at least 100 years old is illegal to have and to own and to download on that site. It's just people turn a blind eye to it at the moment because it's very, it's kind of made for a specific purpose. But it's one of the realities that site is also kind of like a haven for like a lot of pirated content. But it only because copyright is the antithesis of archival. So it's one of those weird catch-22s where it's like the stated goal of the site is at odds. It's at odds with what is the current day law, if that makes sense. Yeah, like anyone can like upload. I mean, even if it wasn't anyone, right? If you find a book on there that's like 50 years old, that's still under copyright. Copyright in America is like 100 years. So, I mean, if you're not in America, it differs. But because the site is in America, that site is technically hosting illegal content. You know what I mean? For a lot of things, actually. So, YMV, do your own research. You may be legally protected depending on where you are. If you're in Europe, for instance, I think copyright is only 50 years, but I'm not a European. In Canada, it's like 75 years, which isn't as bad, but still, it really depends. They do, however, have a system of borrowing books. So if you go through their legal system of like borrowing books, taking things out, and then and like getting like you temporarily taking out a copy that no one else can take out a copy of, then you're fine for the most part, as long as you don't keep that file on your computer by breaking open the system. But again, it's like it's just a matter of like, will people catch you, basically. But you can just download the books and then keep them forever, and then all of a sudden it veers from, okay, kind of like a weird, digital library into, okay, this is now illegal. But that's all about, implementation stuff. It's like, can you navigate that yourself? You probably can, so it's fine. And will anybody report you? Not necessarily. If you're an individual, it's a whole different matter. But it's why the site ran into legal troubles, I think, recently. They ran into quite a few legal troubles recently because of that exact problem, where it was like, okay, they host stuff and there's stuff there, and like even if you can rent it, it's very easy to download. And so what they said was like, most people just download the books after quote unquote renting it, which is just downloading the file to your computer, and then they use that as a basis for like a lot of things on top of other copyrighted content like music and software and stuff. But the books you use there is the button for renting, so maybe it's different. It can be different, yeah. Well, not really. It really, really, really depends apparently on the books there. Because I've heard that even the books that they have for renting are not like the officially sanctioned ones. Because like all of the books that are on here, like everything on here, can be uploaded by just random people too. Like Unsorted Anime Collection, Gazettes of India, APK Archive, American Libraries. Anybody can upload that stuff. Again, YMV, you're probably not going to get in like trouble because it's like they're not going to go after you. They're already trying to go after Internet Archive, so it's not really a you problem. But it's what it is. What the person really wanted, they could just rent from library and then scan them. Yeah. But that's why the legal case has like it's why the legal case is like currently being what's the term? Bashed on because of that exact same reason. It's one of those legal cases that hinges on the slippery slope argument of like, well, because like if you download it to your machine, then you technically have it, but it's like if it's done in a way that causes the material to then disappear from your machine, then you no longer have it. What's the difference from somebody just taking it like home too and scanning it, right? the problem is that there isn't really a good way to define law for digital artifacts. So all this text, right? The moment that you want to see this text, it's downloaded somewhere on your computer, right? It just happens to be that the browser sandboxes it in its own little like cubby for you to like see it and then view it and then like and then it presents it to you in a form depending on other files. But this is all being stored on as like files on your computer somewhere. So it's just the law hasn't caught up to technology, and so it's like you have a lot of like different stipulations that would have only really mattered back in the day before we had such a thing as like a digital book, right? Like when you had to get books from like a library or like buy them. It was a very different time back then. Whereas now it's like, okay, well, because there's no distinction between downloading a file and like for the intent of like pirating versus downloading a file as the byproduct of like you viewing it, you end up in this weird legal gray area where you've technically committed a crime, but it's also technically not really a crime because the intent is different. But the law doesn't care about the intent. The law often cares about the result. So it's a whole mess. There's a whole Wikipedia article on it at the moment about like their like case. I think the Freedom Foundation or something, EFF, is like talking about it too. There's a whole bunch of things going on with this. But yeah, it's a fascinating case because it's really one of the first times in I think a long time that digital content has been tested under law so heavily, I think. But I'm not really well versed in like other cases in it. I just know that like this is a very high profile case because of the amount of stuff that's here. Like look at this. There's hundreds of these. And just not just categories, like items. There's even like records of CNN of like CNN was it like broadcasts. So but it's a great system if you want to find books. So I can't recommend it legally, but I also don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm streaming. What can I really say here, right? What can I really say here? But hey, if you want to, then you can. I'm not gonna stop you. That's all I can really say. I can't stop you. Is all I'm going to say. Why is there a Twitch streams archive? Do not open up the Twitch streams archive. The second most popular item in this Twitch streams archive collection is the Pokemon collection. The fifth most popular is Fifi Lurks ASMR feet and ear licking the pose. The fourth one is Japanese girl keeps you company, !sub, !word. Pool stream Amaranth, streamer Morgpie goes topless in Twitch videos. All subs get Snapchat this month only. Moist Critical YouTube archive. What? Okay, well just don't go into the Twitch streams archive collection. Dear God, there's wow. I can't show this on stream. There's no way I can possibly show this on like stream. Which is like crazy. Well, it depends on the person's view on this. It's either this or deleting everything. Well, so that's the issue, right? It's like the law is stupid. Well, the law isn't stupid, but the reality of it is that law doesn't always, I guess, like follow reality, right? But that's exactly the like problem, right? I actually 100% agree in that the way that the law is with digital artifacts currently is either you do everything or you do nothing. Like there's no in between. And so right now, like literally your only choice if you like lose access to something is you need to burn your machine down, because somewhere in your machine there's like a bit somewhere from that file, and it's like you can't have that because you can recreate like a portion of it. So shower stream, bring your bikini. Who saves these? Why do they save these? I know why they save these, but why would you save these on archive.org? This is just clogging up the point of the thing. Wow, that's an interesting stream concept. Oh my god. Wow. Time to upload stick VODs on the archive. Can you imagine? People get like mad because like they're no longer viewing like all the very, very graphic contents. They had to watch me and my very poorly drawn stick figure. I'm so sorry. I just had breakfast. I'm so sorry. Wow. Was there a meta on Twitch where people did streams and then they had their ass on a glass table and then they had their webcam showing the bottom of their ass? Because that's a lot of what I'm seeing. Why is Pokimane so popular on this website? Oh, Jesus. Wow. Wow, it took me a long time to find, like, I don't know, anything else besides, like, this is all Kuma bait. Huh. Not that there's anything wrong with Kuma bait, I'm just very surprised that it's on archive.org. Because what I usually find is that on archive.org, right, different categories, they do a good job of saving things that are important from, like, a historical context. Versus, this stuff. Rats SMP VOD. What? Losing my mind. Trying not to die in Wii Sports. Tyler 1 gets baited. Okay. Not gonna say that. Germa YouTube video archive. That's my kind of archive, actually. Pure ear eating. Do you guys want to hear this? Let's listen to pure ear eating ASMR, okay, chat? Is it bad? Oh. Oh. I don't like that. Oh, that's disgusting. Alright, well, thank you for showing me this, like, new, fresh hell. I'm gonna go through this list because I'm so curious now. I'm curious what people save from this, you know what I mean? Because, like, there's a lot of stuff on here that is very, fascinating. But I wonder if there's any, like, hidden gems or something. I don't know, it's weird. Archive.org is honestly a weird place. Again, it's like YouTube if, like, YouTube had no filter. Where it's like, I don't know, it's like any... It'd be like a file upload website if it had government approval, but, like, a soft government approval. It's a weird place to be when you consider all the content that is on here. But this is honestly not the weirdest I've seen, too. I've seen a lot weirder. Like, I've seen, like, there's a whole... I'm not even kidding you. There's, like, a whole archive or something based around feet or something. Somewhere on this site, I saw it once. I was like, what the fuck is this? And you can see, because, like, sometimes you find, like... I don't know why, but the related link system on this website is amazing. So when I was trying to find, like, a copy of Carmen San Diego, right? One of the places that I found it was on this. I tried to buy it, and then I found a copy off of eBay for, like, cheap, thankfully. Some old grandma was selling her, like, you know, old stuff, which is nice. But if I had to, I'd have to go to archive.org. But then the related link took me down this rabbit hole of, like, weird random stuff. And eventually ended up, and then you see different collections that it's in. And then you see collections like old software, or, like, foot-focused content. I'm like, oh, God. Popular Chinese books, twiddle. Clearance bin consoles. Hey. New monsoon. Yeah, it's a great site. I hope it stays up because, again, the idea of, like, software or just any piece of work disappearing for all of time kind of sucks, right? Not that I think everything should be archived, but I think at some level, you don't want to lose it because you never really know how good it's going to be, right? Like, I'm reminded of the fact that, like, Franz Kafka wanted to burn all of his, like, stuff. Like, Franz Kafka really didn't want anyone to know about all of his, like, stuff. But his friend said, hey, your stuff is actually amazing and I want people to, like, see it, right? Sometimes we don't know the value of something until it's gone. Sometimes, I mean, even the creator doesn't know. So it's nice to have it archived. Even sometimes, like, even if it's good, not many people know about it just because the reality of it is that there's so much to, like, know, right? So it's nice to keep it around. Like the whole Flash archive. By the way, the Flash archive, like, the top 20% of it is actually just hentai games. Okay, well, but we're not just talking today. We're actually going to be playing a game today, okay? As I mentioned, it's not this, okay? It's not this. We're going to do something weird today. Well, I don't know if it's a game, but we're going to start off with, like, a weird experience that I found. That I've had on my phone for a while that I completely forgot about. This is the thing that I said, I think, last week that I was going to, like, do, because I vaguely remember saying something about this. I just forgot to say anything about it, so that was my bad. Or, like, I just forgot to, like, do it, okay? We're going to be doing something called Windows93.net. I got a link off of this from... it's a weird rabbit hole. You know, because you know how it is, right? You're late at night, you watch a couple of videos and you read about, like, weird things, then you go on some, like, weird, like, threads, and then people talk about stuff. And then they talk about, like, weird things that they found. And I'm pretty sure I found this off of, like, Hackett News, right? And they mentioned this thing called Windows93.net, which is like a can't tell if it's like a parody or like a remake of like Windows in general within a browser. I booted up. It seems to run in my virtual machine. I'm gonna run it in a virtual machine because I'm afraid of like what I don't know what it is. We're gonna dive in deep and we're just gonna see if it's fine. But I've seen I haven't seen them, but I looked up videos on like YouTube about this because if it's fine for YouTube, it's usually fine for a stream usually. And there's a lot of people who actually made videos on it that were just like raw, like they just like went down rabbit holes in it. So it should be okay. I didn't watch them, but it's if the videos are still up and they have like a lot of views, should be fine. And they went to video essays. And then we're gonna move on to Kenshi. We're gonna try to keep all of you alive, as well as Until Then. Before that, though, I prepared a playlist. A playlist for today with an artist that I really, well, two artists that I really enjoy. Well, three, technically three. It's going to be three once we get to like the latter half. But these artists I really enjoy because of their various, I guess, like styles. This initial style is based on a style that we've heard before on the stream. It's a style that, you know, I'm so sorry, I'm so gassy. That we've heard before on the stream very recently, actually. It's that vaporwave style. That style of music is very much characterized by this idea of like, it feels nostalgic in a way, right? But apparently there's like other subcultures of it too, like Frutiger Arrow or something, which is like a weird, like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I just know that they're very like anal about the way that it should be. I don't know where this artist lies, but I found this artist off of Twitter. I'm not even kidding you. A while back, and I really enjoyed her songs, and I realized I never played her like songs. She's a wonderful artist actually, who makes a lot of really weird, interesting stuff, and the music video is fantastic for her music. And all of her songs are very good. It's not just her voice, I think, but her voice is a huge portion of it. It's the way that she mixes her voice too. I don't know if it's a real thing, but she uses like an old telephone to sing into, and I don't know if that's actually like a real microphone or if that's just a shtick. But it really does sound like her voice is going through a microphone, and I really enjoy that sort of vibe for what this song's flavor is. I think it's a really good, interesting take on mixing her voice to make it to like give it a certain type of feeling. And again, the music video is very good. It's a very weird old school look at like how stuff was, if that makes sense. So that's a song. I'm gonna play it for you now. This is "Wonderful Now" by Juliana. I'm gonna butcher her name. Chahayed. Again, I found her on Twitter. She's an amazing artist. I really love her songs, but this song in particular, I also really like as well. But the music video as well caught me. There's two songs of her that we're going to be playing today.
Writing your words so small, moving
It's a really, really weird song, but you see why I like it, right? It has this weird ethereal sense to it, and it feels kind of like those really, really, really old. I don't know how to explain this. They used to be like really, really old videos about like or like demo scene stuff that was very based on this like aesthetic for like a long time ago, where they were very, very about exploring the inside of your system as if it was like live. That music video is kind of like that, but also like it reminds me of that time period, of that weird like time when that aesthetic was very, very popular, or that narrative at least. I also don't know if it's by her or if it's by the guy who was playing the accordion. I think it's a meme that it says featuring her because it's on her channel, but I don't know if it's because the guy just has no channel. I don't really know. But yeah, really great artist. All of her stuff is amazing. I can't believe that she's very not well known, but she does have some hits that like really, really popped off. I think around the Tumblr era. I feel like because when I search up the songs that are there, there's a bunch of Tumblr posts about it and then TikTok posts about it, and then a lot of Twitter posts about it too. So she probably popped off around those like areas. So. Wow, they have an archive of Macintosh apps, and you can view them with an emulator. Yeah, I mean, most of archive.org is implemented with like a browser-based emulator, especially the old games. Like if you play games like, where is Carmen San Diego, right? If you play that within the browser on archive.org, it plays within DOSBox, within your like browser. So, but again, it's weird how it's like a legal loophole to do so, and it's not really legal. But I'm glad that they do so because again, a lot of the stuff is really good, and I'm glad that people have the chance to like try it out. Because imagine having all of this stuff lost forever, right? And there's a bunch of things on there that are still even like useful, or at least still very interesting to sort of learn from. And in fact, you might like this music video if you enjoy looking at this stuff too. This music video has a lot of that vibe, if that makes sense, of like old weird software stuff. But yeah, this is a good song I think to start us off with because it fits both the discussion that we had on archive.org as well as the thing that we're going to be doing right now as well. Just give me a moment to set it up. All right, sorry about that, chat. The coffee took a bit longer to make than expected, aka the water boiler just didn't work, which is weird. Sorry about that. Now, before we continue, because I need a moment to drink coffee anyways, I want to show you all of you a very funny website that I've been really enjoying reading in my free time. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure all of you know the Cybertruck, how shit it is. Like, in general, I mean, most Elon Musk stuff, like, sucks like donkey dick. But, like, this website in particular is well, not a website, it's this subreddit in particular. Oh, God. That's a disgusting phrase. It's very funny for me to, like, see, because I really enjoy seeing people's frustrations over what they bought. Despite the fact that there's like a million points of evidence that like tells you not to buy this like thing. This is the Cyberstuck subreddit, which is very hilarious to me because you look at the post on here and you're like, why would you ever want to buy this thing, right? Like you already know it's like an awful thing to like get, and then you go through it and you're like, okay, like this is an awful thing to get. Let me fix my headphone. There we go. No more delay. For instance. The brakes aren't expected to stop acceleration. Waited 5 hours and drove for 4 hours, okay? Waited 5 years and drove 4 hours. Need to take some responsibility. We reviewed logs, and due to the terrain, the accelerator may or may not disengage when the brake is depressed. As far as the back tires locking up, we are reviewing. Imagine having a car that you press the brakes and it doesn't work, right? This is insane to me. My brother, my brother has a Tesla. And I look at it and I'm like, this is kind of an abomination. Not a Cybertruck, but he has like the Tesla Model 3 or something, or the Model Y or something. I don't know. Which one is a cheap entry level car? Well, cheap, quote unquote. And I'm like, why would you have this? To me, it feels like a waste because the amount of work that you have to put into it to like drive it feels stupid, right? And again, it's crazy to me that somebody like say Sykkuno also got one too, because I'm like, it really doesn't seem fun to like drive. The brake is not really the brake. You have to let your foot off the accelerator to like brake. So the way you slow down is you use the accelerator and you let go of it to eventually stop because it automatically stops. Which is weird to me because the wheels aren't like a free axle type of thing. Like they're technically connected to the entire thing, and so it has to move, right? Because they're pretty closely tied to the battery or something of some kind. It's something like that. I'm not really sure. But basically, the way you drive it is you have to do it all by the accelerator, and the brake is there for emergencies, right? But now imagine that your brake doesn't even work, which is absurd to me. Like, imagine this happening in his car. I'm like, this is a stupid car. And what's crazy is that it's a giant touchscreen, okay? So you can't do anything while you drive it. It feels awful. And then they made it worse for the Cybertruck, which is why the Cyberstuck subreddit is here. So, for instance, this guy's charger got stuck, which is hilarious to me. Which, by the way, the installation for the charger is a pain in the ass as well. It costs a shit ton of money. About to watch this guy. Oh, and you also can't bring these things inside the car wash because the truck has so many gaps in it that if you bring it through, you would like lose a bunch of like just everything. So if you don't know, I think there's a photo of it here. Here we go. Everything in a Cybertruck is a single wired system, which is really, really stupid. I'm gonna explain why once I take a sip of coffee here. Good thing the Breath of the Wild song came on. Oh, this coffee is so good. Ow, it's hot. Okay. The reason why it's so stupid is because any fault anywhere in the system breaks the entire system. You have a single Ethernet wire carrying every single thing, okay? The reason why cars don't do this is because you don't want your steering to be impacted when your headlights go off. But the way that this works is that because it's one single system, if anything happens at the connector where your headlights like jack into the system, and it touches the main wire, which it absolutely will because of the way that like wires work, what ends up happening is that you're going to lose control of your steering wheel as you're driving just because your headlights start to get all wonky. In normal cars, right? Most of your car can break down. A significant portion of your car can just stop working and it'll still run. You lose a mirror, it's fine. Your headlights don't work, it's fine. Backlights, you don't need them. You need them legally, you need them for like safety reasons, but you don't need it to drive a car. So if you're running away from like a serial killer and they smash your car lights in, you're going to survive. If somebody smashes in your Cybertruck like headlights, you're gonna be stuck. And that to me is insane to me. I don't think I would ever trust this. But this is why people pay. This car, by the way, it's like tens of hundreds of thousands Cybertruck price. Let's chat. Let's go see if we can. Let's go see how much a Cybertruck is, because this is stupid to me. I want to see how much a Cybertruck is. Yeah, order now. Order now. Let's just go order now. Why is it all dark? Why is the website all like dark? What the fuck is this? Oh. Probable savings. Purchase price. All the Cyber Beast is $100,000 dues. And it even, oh my god, they even tried to riff off of the Cyberpunk font. The crazy part is, right? They had something kind of going with their initial Teslas in the form of like, okay, it's kind of a cool thing to see, but there were issues with it. And you know, a lot of mechanic breakdown people on like YouTube, they got into a lot of legal trouble showing this. But basically, when they would break open the car, they would show that the construction of the body just wasn't that good. But the truck is a complete disaster. And then, you know, having all this like just wiring, just a single set of wiring for like everything seems stupid to me. You save costs, but you increase the the likelihood that someone dies. And that to me doesn't seem worth it. Like, why would you want to do that? The one place that you don't want to cheap out on is the way that your car works. So yeah, it's fascinating to sort of look at this entire subreddit. Like this, for instance, this is like a normal thing in like cars, but the steering wheel, like it doesn't have resistance to like stop you from turning too like fast. Like a normal steering wheel, it has like a feedback on it, right? It's why steering wheels for like, you know, driving sims in like games, they try to add feedback to it to replicate what a real wheel feels like. Then, oh my god, the stupid wheel design. My brother's car has this stupid wheel, like steering wheel design. He has the spoke. I think. I don't actually, maybe he like changed it recently, but I remember looking at the spoke and I was like, this thing feels like it's stupid because how the hell can you do anything? You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to do anything? Because the spoke, right? When you churn, if you've ever churned in a car, you want to slide your hand and get grip, if sometimes. But you also want to have something to like grab onto at all parts of the churn, right? And you want it to be a consistent distance because your body, because when you're churning, you don't know where you are with your steering wheel. You're focused on the motion of the car, not your steering wheel. It's why it's a circle, because a circle is the same shape across the entire thing. It's very easily predictable for our brains. The human brain is very good at predicting consistent motion, not something that changes shape every now and then. This thing changes shape at the top and the bottom. And what happens when you churn? When do you grip the top and the bottom as you churn? Okay? It's right as you get near like the 75% of your churn, the 60 to 75%. Depending on how you hold it, it may be closer to 40 or 50 if you hold it at like a diagonal or like more vertically, which seems insane. But most people will like do it at like around the 60 to like 70. When it's most dangerous in your churn, because that's when you're executing the churn and when you don't want to bail out too early because you're gonna hit the guy in the lane beside you, or when you don't want to miss entirely and you just go straight at a diagonal into like a pedestrian. It's just a stupid design. It feels like it's a car built by non-car people. That's exactly the problem with it, yeah. On top of the fact that this is, again, it's a giant, massive touchscreen. Newer cars, though, like, I mean, most every newer car now has a touchscreen too, and I hate it. I really, really miss buttons. Again, tactile feeling buttons. We invented tactility because we realized that you can't look away from the road as you're driving. It's stupid. Instead, you have this like car that you have to have like a touchscreen to. Here, look. You go into water, it shorts its electronics because you remember what we saw? It's a single wire for everything. So now the entire system is broken. They can't drive it anymore. And then on top of that, there's like water that can go into the car. Most cars, water can't go inside to like certain spots. It's pretty like you don't, if you drive in a rainy day, you don't end up with like a slightly flooded car. It's actually mostly fine. Even if you do though, it doesn't break the entire system because it's well designed. Water can pass through many of the components as it should, even in like an engine, and nothing will like happen necessarily. But this, it just breaks. It sucks. And I really don't know why people buy this, but I really enjoy looking at the subreddit because it's like crazy to me. Especially because there's a lot of horror stories about the warranty and like stuff. So you have a car that isn't really a car. It's just like it's more of a toy for like technical people, but like the stupid techno people. Then you have the problem of the fact that like when you buy it, you don't get any business guarantees of like stuff either. Like look at this. Collects water inside the frame. This is why taking it through a car wash voids the warranty. You can't even wash your car, which is like a basic standard thing to like do, because it breaks your entire car. I will never understand why people buy that stuff, and it's always funny to see it happen to like people because it's like, why would you ever want to buy like a technical car, right? To me, the best kind of car is a very simple car, right? One that doesn't really take too much like effort to like drive, one that isn't very complex, and one that's focused on just driving and being able to focus on driving and not necessarily messing around with the car. It's why I hate the modern day car philosophy, car design, as well as car engineering philosophy, where they stick a bunch of like toys into it. Because it's like, I don't really care about the toys. I just want a car that gets me from point A to point B at the lowest cost possible, with with a lot of safety for myself and my passengers. Irrespective of the people around me, just because like you can't really protect them. Like it's kind of hard to, right? The most you can do is drive well, drive safely, drive away from from like influences, and like think about safety first. But like you want the people with you that in your car to be safe. So you know what I mean? Like that's what you really focus on a car. New modern day cars, they go towards touchscreens and stuff. They go towards all these like weird designs. They try to reinvent the entire car interior by doing all these like weird fancy things involving like, I don't know, materials and like all this stuff. The only good invention for a car has been seated heating. Heated seating. That to me is the only invention that really matters. Because beyond that, listen, it's nice to have your ass nice and warm, right? But beyond that, nothing else really matters. Anyways, I just want to show you that because that's something that I forgot to show you all before we go into this. But also because as we transition from game to game, there'll be a different song as well. The song that we started with was a song by Juliana Chahade. I'm sorry for butchering your name. This song is a song that I really enjoy from an artist. Not the song that you're hearing now. This is a video game soundtrack, which is now gone. This song is a song by an artist named Sampha. Now, Sampha got really popular when their Process album released, I think, in 2017 or so. I think it was 2017. And Process was an amazing album when it came out. Because this artist literally came out of nowhere. And his voice is fantastic, but not just his voice. Whatever he's doing to produce these songs, how he produces them, and the concepts that he has for the album is fantastic. The entire album is a wonderful masterpiece that you kind of need to listen to in a single go. But I figured, you know what? Let me give you a taste of what this like album is working with, just so you understand why I love this album so much. This is the first song on the Process album by Sampha. The first song. Take note, or like think about the fact that the first song isn't usually the best song on an album. Usually people put the banger of the albums in the middle of their album. Usually the first song is a very simple intro. But if the first song is this good, I hope you'll be. I hope you can extrapolate from that why I think the rest of the album is fantastic. The song is amazing, and that isn't even the best song on the entire album. Again, I think Sanford's entire Process album and his new album actually, Lahai, I think, is also very very good. And again, Lahai kind of came out of nowhere as well. He's nice that literally came out of nowhere for both albums. But you can see why he sort of like made waves when it did drop out of nowhere. Playlist exclamation mark playlist. Yeah, sorry, I have no like playlist command, but also well we will eventually once I set things up, but in a way that you can also see and contribute the views to. But I really love that entire song. Again, if you want to listen to his whole album, you just search up Sampha. I mean, I linked it inside chat as well. And then his entire Process album is amazing. I say start with Process, then go into Lahai because it feels like almost like two sides of like a long-term story of like a person's life, right? And in Process, it gets, it's a very emotional album though. Like you really do need a moment to like sit down and really absorb the entire thing. My favorite thing to do with the album was just to sit there, nothing else, not even watching anything. Headphones on, close your eyes, just listen, right? Just really just listen to every single word. Obviously, it's not always emotional. I mean, sometimes it has like banger beat songs too, but it's like one or two compared to the entire album. It's really, really good. And I'm glad that he got some more, I guess, like popularity from like the Tiny Desk concert. I think he did one recently on NPR, which is great because I honestly, ever since 2017 or whenever Process really released, I always thought that he was amazing. It was strange that nobody else knew about him. Whenever I would talk about him, and I would show my friends him who like also enjoyed this type of music, and they would always go like, "Oh wow, this is exactly up my alley." I'm like, "Yeah, of course." I feel like you're missing out. But yeah, do check them out. I thought the song was a great intro as well, going into Kenshi because, as you all know, Kenshi takes place in a very post-apocalyptic world, and I thought it was funny that the song has this idea of like melting plastic out in the heat of the world. Obviously, it's not meant to be a literal song like that. It's a much more symbolic song, and all of his songs are full of a very deep level of symbolism at times, and he sings in a very soulful way that makes you really feel and understand it on an emotional sense before you understand the words themselves. But I thought that if taken literally, it was a very funny thing to like go into Kenshi with. But yeah, wonderful album. I give it a listen like once a year or so, the entire album. I just sit there and I realize that Kenshi is kind of the amazing, like the best way to like segue into it because it's like the perfect kind of song. From this point on, the songs will start to take on a different tone as well. We're moving away from the whole vaporwave / Frutiger sort of like style of music and style of vibe because we're going into much heavier games. Kenshi's not really heavy, but we're going to end off with some Until Then today as well. So it'll get heavier as time goes on, but not so heavy that we're into emo territory. But definitely do keep an eye out for that. If you're not in the mood for that stuff, this is just a fair warning now that this is when the mood will sort of shift to a more somber, solemn mood. Not necessarily sad, but definitely repressed in some way, not fully depressed. Now, I hope you're ready to put your trust. I hope you're ready to put your trust in me to keep your life stable because we're gonna bring out the wheel and we're gonna start some Kenshi right now. Give me a moment to set things up.